Well, hello everyone and welcome to my kitchen table. Now, as all of our regular viewers will know, the kitchen table kind of takes different formats, doesn't it? Sometimes it's me just sitting, giving you a 10 or 15 or 20-minute monologue. We've had guests at the kitchen table before to discuss the goings-on in the world of rally, but we've got a new one for you today. We've got Chris Ingram, the FIA ERC Junior Under 27 champion. Is that
Exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. That's without any notes. Yeah, a new one for you. We've got a guest driver, Chris. It's fantastic to have you this morning at the kitchen table.
Yeah, great to be in the legendary spot.
Yeah, legendary. Well, it's legendary to my kids anyway. Chris, listen, as I said there in the build-up, really what we want to do today is just to talk with you about your career, because do you know what, for someone so young, you have been around for a few years now, but I don't think that many people out there will know just how hard you've had to work to get where you are today in rallying. So if you don't mind, we'll take you back. Take you back to you, because you're immersed in rallying. You come from a rallying family. Your father's a big rally figure, particularly in the 80s and 90s in the UK. Oops! Here's me trying to be too clever with my radio mic and it's just fallen off. I think it's still working. It's got the green light on anyway. Talk to me, Chris, about your early days in rallying and what really ignited that passion for rallying in you.
In this country, I think not many people actually know the real me. Like, they see me on social media because that's how I get my sponsorship and stuff like that, and they don't know the real me. And yeah, going back to the start, like you said, it was my dad who got me into rallying. I think when I was about 10, he took me to watch the Malton rally. Wow. And I just absolutely
And you knew at that point, actually, I don't just want to watch, I don't want to just come support my dad, I want to drive rally cars.
Not quite then, actually. Right. I was obsessed with it. I used to love watching my dad compete. Like, the feeling I got, waiting for him to come through the stage, that buzz, I can't describe it. It was a magic feeling.
And let's talk a wee bit about your dad, because, anyone that knows British rallying knows your dad was a big character in British rallying for various reasons. And I've had my run-ins with your dad, but I genuinely think your dad is a good person, and clearly he's done a lot to support your career. But he was a big figure for a while in British rallying. Tell us about the cars he had. He had some fantastic cars.
Yeah, he did really well with his business at that time, building houses for footballers, and he was doing really well.
Didn't he build half of Cheshire? Didn't he build half of the footballers' homes in Cheshire?
Yeah, so
I remember going for a drink with him in a coffee at Costa's in, was it Alderley Edge?
Yeah.
And he was trying to go, lad, I built half of this street, I did. It's no boast, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, he originally started road rallying when he was my age, so that was the link. And then when he did well in business, got back into rallying. He bought a Subaru WRC.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Then an ex-McRae Focus.
That's right. He had a big crash in that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't he have a big crash in that? It was quite a nasty crash.
Plenty of big crashes, but I think I've topped him now.
Well, you've had one or two yourself, but yeah, he did well. But he really then, during your early days of your career, we're kind of jumping a little bit, because we've gone from a 10-year-old Chris to I suppose a 16, 17-year-old Chris who now knows what he wants to be. Tell us about that intervening period then. Tell us about the years that actually formulated your desire to be a rally driver.
Well, to be honest, I used to make videos. I used to go out and film, and I was competitive with all the other guys making videos. I used to want to make the best one and get the most views. And I was very lucky that my dad got me a little quad bike, and that's where I first started to get into drive. I didn't do any go-karting or anything serious. I just did it for fun, like in a field, and that's where I started to get the control. And then we entered the Junior Rally Championship when I was 15 in a Citroen C1. That was when my dad had stopped, where he was coming to the end of his career, and things were getting tough for him. He
had a very difficult time, didn't he?
Yeah,
he had
exactly.
a very, very difficult time, which a lot of people don't appreciate. He had a difficult time with his business, which then led to difficult times all round, really.
Massively, yeah.
For everyone. Massive
Definitely.
change for you and the family at that point. From perhaps being a privileged child, thinking, Subaru World Rally cars, Ford Focus World Rally cars, they're like that. They're easy to come by. All of a sudden, all of that went.
Exactly, yeah. And we lost almost everything. But my dad, to be fair to him, he never We had that dream. We realised I was quite good in the buggy, sideways, flat out. And I think from then on, my dad, he wanted to give me the best chance.
Chris, as you say, your dad never lost sight of the fact that he wanted you to succeed. And yes, his circumstances changed dramatically. And the potential for him perhaps to give you, what you needed changed dramatically. But he put his really quite considerable energies into finding you other opportunities, didn't he?
Definitely, yeah. Like, it went from junior rallying, I won that. Then we realised, next step. We went and got a Renault Twingo.
That was a legendary car, wasn't it?
Cheap, but a mega R2 car, which was quite a big step.
But do you know what? And that was the point at which I think a lot of people noticed Chris Ingram, because great car, difficult to drive.
Definitely. And it took me, obviously I learned, I crashed and doing the British Championship. Then I entered the ERC and got support from Renault.
But tell us about that. Tell us about that transition, because again, it was your dad that was very instrumental in that.
Yeah.
And do you know what? A lot of the kids at the time that you were competing against in the BRC, they tried hard, they put their money, but they've kind of fallen by the wayside. But that move that your dad instigated to Europe, basically, you could argue that was the thing that really allowed you then to kick on. But it was quite interesting the way that happened.
It was when the British Championship, the last British Championship, was falling apart, and we thought we're not getting anywhere with this, and went straight to France. I won a prize drive with Renault in France, and it just opened up a whole new world of how rallying should be.
Yeah, and it wasn't that much more expensive for you.
No.
What you discovered, actually, okay, it was more in terms of time, but you had a bit of time at that age. In terms of cost, it really wasn't that much more, but the rewards were that much greater, the prizes were that much greater.
Yeah, definitely. I forgot to mention we were actually running the car ourselves.
Yeah, I remember that.
With a motorhome. And my sister's boyfriend at the time, who's not even a mechanic, and my dad, that was our team. So
you were a bunch of chancers. I remember when I met you for the first time thinking, here's chances, but they're making it work.
Yeah.
But again, that was all driven by your dad, and the story of the move to Europe. There are some interesting stories around that. There's stories about cups of tea over people's heads, about choice words in service parks up north, but to be fair, I've had interesting words with your dad in the past, but you always know that the one thing that drives your father is to see you getting the opportunities you deserve.
Definitely.
And for me, that's absolutely admirable. You can forgive all sorts of other problems, all sorts of other character traits for that one desire, which is to see you achieving what you can achieve and achieving the potential that is there. And the European move was, for me, the biggest move for you, because no one else was prepared to do that in Europe, in the UK.
Definitely, yeah. And then competing against the best guys out there, it made me develop so quickly.
Because when I first got to know you guys, I remember one of the first rallies I came to was the Ypres rally with you. Who beat you at that rally? By just fractions of a second, and he was in a
208,
a 208, and it was a works prepared 208. You were in the little Twingo, prepared by your dad, your mates, and this Belgian team. And you chased him all the way. It was astonishing. And at that point, you must have known, there is the potential here to move on and to do bigger things.
Definitely, yeah. And then we actually ran out of money shortly after that. Had to sell the Twingo. There was just that was it, really. And then I got a call from Peugeot UK.
What a deal that
was. Literally a call.
What a deal that was.
Yeah.
And again, you became the first, with that deal, the first British factory driver since the McRae and Burns era?
I think the youngest since Burns, when he got his drive at 2021 as well. And again, I was 19.
What do you think it was that Peugeot UK saw in you then?
It was behind the scenes. It was Jean-Pierre Nicolas, the boss of the ERC, and Bruno Fanman, the boss of Peugeot Sport, and they'd seen in the Twingo I was able to be up with the top boys in the Peugeots, and that I should be in a 208 challenging for the juniors. So what a massive, amazing opportunity, and the timing was ridiculous.
It was perfect timing, wasn't it? And it was perfect timing for you in that it was exactly the right time in your career. It's what you needed, because it was, you were going to have to go and find a proper job otherwise.
Yeah. But I was still working in Costa at that point.
Is that right? How did you make good flat white? I love a flat white.
I smashed all the plates up and got
Is that
sacked,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Well, your mother sacked you because it was your mother's costume.
Yeah, I worked in another. Yeah.
Did you? You didn't work as your mum's costume?
She sacked me as well.
Right, there we go. That's always worrying. Or maybe it's just hard love. I don't know. But yeah, it was good timing in that things were on the rise in terms of the ERC as well, and you were creating a bit of a name for yourself within the ERC, which then led to the next move.
Yeah, we did a year with Peugeot, and to be honest, it was a huge learning year. I was with the French team, first time I had an engineer. There was a lot of ups and downs, some really good results, like I won in the Azores, but Opel were there, they turned up, and they were just almost unbeatable.
Yeah.
We got to the end of the year.
Again, with some big names. The guys at Opel have gone on. Is it Hooten? Was it Hooten? Who was it?
It was Bergqvist and Griebel.
That's right.
Time,
Both. Yeah. Well, certainly Bergqvist has gone on to do various things in the WRC, hasn't he?
Definitely, yeah. And it sort of, Peugeot got cold feet at the end of that year because Opel had won. People had changed jobs and things. And then luckily, Opel had been impressed enough that I was the only one challenging them, and then that was the next opportunity. You see,
a lot of people look at your career, Chris, and they look at it and they still assume, harking back to what we talked about earlier, that it's family money that's funding it all. But it's not. It's your determination and bloody mindedness.
Yeah.
And your talent,
and
obviously.
A bit of luck.
And a bit of luck that's made it happen. But all of these drives have been drives that you have won on merit.
Yeah.
Not that you've paid for.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can't pay for it. You don't have the money anymore.
Exactly.
It's quite something, because you don't really see that so much these days. You don't see that. In the old days of the IRC, we used to see young drivers occasionally getting opportunities with importers, Peugeot importers, Skoda importers, sometimes Ford importers helping out. But that's kind of gone now. That's kind of gone. And to actually get, what are you in now? About your 4th year of factory driving? Although this is a prize drive year, isn't it? But you had, 2 years with Opel, was it?
Yeah, 2 years with Opel, year and a half with Peugeot.
So you're almost into your 4th year, aren't you? You had 4 years of it. Not many kids can say they've done that. It's quite an achievement.
Been very lucky, to be honest, but
a bit of luck, and a bit more than that.
Definitely worked hard.
Yeah. Let's talk about where you are now, because you're sitting here. Look at this lovely top he's got on, 11, and that fantastic. My son loves, what's his name? Yanni. Who's the guy that wrapped your car?
Yeah, Yanni, yeah.
Yeah, what do they call it? Yanni-mizer. Yanni-mizer, that's it. We watched that on YouTube the other day. What a great sponsor 11 are for you. But again, these things don't just happen, do they?
No.
You have to work hard to build something that a sponsor wants.
Definitely.
And you've got something that they want, obviously, and they've been a good sponsor for you.
Definitely, yeah. Like last year, social media has always been important as an easy way to give value back to my sponsors.
Yeah.
Like, I've been doing videos, helmet camera videos. I've had
million views,
millions of views, yeah.
It's crazy numbers.
And that turned 11 degrees on.
Yeah.
They want content, exciting stuff. It's a young man's brand.
Yeah.
Sportswear.
That's why I'm not wearing it. It's a young man's brand. When they come up with an old man's label, maybe I'll get into it.
It just seemed the perfect fit. Yeah. So a mega opportunity, but I had to place myself really well and carefully for that.
Yeah, and that's something that again has come at a good time for you, because you had this prize drive. Where can we go with talking about this prize drive? Because I'm not sure, because it's not quite as straightforward as a lot of people think. But you're competing this year because of the 11 Degrees sponsorship and because of the wonderful support you've had from TalkSport.
Exactly.
Is that fair to say?
100%, yeah.
100%. There's more to this story, which will come out at some point. And I think you're being very gentlemanly and very restrained and not talking about it. But anyway, again, it just shows the determination. And I okay, you might think I'm going over the top, but I have known Chris for 4 years now, 4 and a bit years. And he's got a wee bit of something about him in terms of, his tenacity. And you have to have tenacity as a young driver. But he doesn't sit at home and watch Richard and Judy in the mornings. He goes about things. It is hard work. It's a full-time job, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Like, I'll actually survive from rallying. I don't make any money, but if it was any worse, I wouldn't be rallying.
Yeah.
The opportunity with TalkSport, like you said, I had a few different options from teams. It all just seemed way too expensive and just unrealistic this year. The budget, compared to this fraction of the cost I had to contribute to Opel, the budget now is ridiculous.
This is the biggest problem for any young driver.
Yeah.
Is, you can just about afford, if you've got to find 25,000 euros a rally to compete in, say, ERC Juniors. There's a lot of youngsters that perhaps can find ways of raising that sort of cash. But when you start doubling, tripling that, which is what you need to do to be competitive in an R5 car, it's an enormous leap.
Massively. And with no backing, just having to go out and try and convince people. Yeah. Like I was going to say before, me as the rally driver is a completely different person to the guy who has to go out and meet people and try and get money. Because as the rally driver, I'm so focused on that. Whereas I couldn't walk into a meeting and say, how am I going to, if I speak to my engineer, I'll go, how am I going to get the best setup? Yeah. I couldn't go into a meeting and say, how am I going to get the money off you?
Right.
I've had to
learn
really
that.
grow as a business person.
There's kind of three different personalities there, isn't there?
Definitely.
There's the driver, as you say, which is confident, which has got a lot of self-belief.
Yeah.
There's the businessman, which you're learning still, business boy, because that's what you are. And then there's you, and you are quite different from both those other two characters.
So different.
But you have to look at the whole and say you have to be the full circle to actually get anywhere. So it's but it's tough. It's tough to have to adapt to all those different sort of personas almost.
Yeah, 100%. Like going back to the Talk Sport situation, the opportunities they've given me. My teammate now, he met me at Rally GB, and I was so focused about start stage. I think he was running ahead or behind us. I sort of ignored him because I was so focused.
Who is this?
Orhan.
All right, lovely guy. Yeah.
And he said to the team boss, he's a bit of an arrogant kid, him, because he doesn't know him. That was the impression I gave off. And then I went to meet Talk Sport, and the team boss thought, so we'll meet Chris, but we're not really sure. And then he said to Orhan afterwards, what are you talking about? He's a lovely lad.
It's very easy to be misunderstood, and I'm a little bit active on social media, and I see a lot of the stuff that goes on, a lot of stuff that gets said, and it's very difficult to actually link what people say about you to the person that I know that you are. But that is because of what we talked about earlier. You need to have these personalities. You need to have them. You can't be a wallflower. If you're a wallflower, you get nowhere. You get nowhere with 11 degrees. You get nowhere with the potential manufacturers. You get nowhere in the stages.
Yeah.
What you're trying to do, I suspect, is
be a rounded person.
Correct. Yeah. To be able to make the most of the opportunities that are there for you. And again, we've got to go back to your dad, because your dad's probably given you an awful lot of what's needed, to cope in this. It's a cutthroat environment, and this year you're discovering that more than ever before. It's a sea full of sharks is rallying at times, and there are some beautiful dolphins out there. There really are doing some beautiful things, but underneath there's a shark there at all times, just ready to take what they can.
100%.
And you're finding that this year, and I think the way you're dealing with that is fabulous. But the reason you can deal with that, I think, in a fair part, is down to the old man. He's given you a lot of opportunities in life, but he's given you a lot of guidance as well, hasn't he? A lot of it you would just say, but then a lot of it goes in. A lot of it goes in.
Pick and take things that I've sort of learned so much from.
And maybe as an 18-year-old you wouldn't have done that.
No.
Now as a 22, 23?
Just turned 24.
24.
Yeah.
Now you're in a position where you can do that. You can recognise what to take and what to just say thank you very much. I'll think about that and put aside.
And there's other things that have happened, completely aside from my dad. Like last year, something horrendous happened to me in my personal life. And it was so hard to deal with, but that's made me so much stronger. It's probably the best thing that's happened to me, because it just gave me the kick up the ass.
But it happens, and this is life. That is life, and I thought the way you dealt with that situation was fantastic. You dealt with it very, very professionally, and you got on with it. But it is, you know, there are drivers in the World Rally Championship that are dealing with the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you have to know how to deal with it, and the measure of the man that you have become is how you deal with it, and the learnings you take, and that you take into those other sections of your life. You know, so there's the Chris, the lovely Chris who's the boy next door, there's the slightly hard-nosed Chris, there's the slightly arrogant Chris wearing the 11 because that's what they want, you know, a good-looking young lad, and then there's the focused Chris. And if you can take little bits of all of these learnings and just add them to each of those personas you've got, then it does eventually complete that circle. That sounds quite philosophical, doesn't it?
Definitely. I'm well into it now.
I'm quite impressed by that myself, actually. but there is a little bit of sense in what I'm saying there, and that's what I like. Some people don't ever learn from life situations. They don't ever learn from mistakes. They repeat mistakes. They go through tough situations, and all they do is bleat about them for years. What you have to do is look at it and say, how do I use this to my advantage?
100%.
And you've done that with all yours, because you had tough times when you had great times when you were younger. Your family then went through a terrible ordeal where everything nearly went. It did go, it's fair to say, and nearly everything completely went. You know, you can talk about the problems you had last year, and then this year. I mean, this year, you know, someone said to me, Chris Ingram's got this, and I googled it and went, that's a life-threatening illness. You had a life-threatening illness this year, an illness that if they'd not caught in time, could have killed you. What the heck?
I was in bed for a month, so Gran Canaria second round. I arrived and I just felt awful all week. I just felt worse.
And you made that strange mistake in testing. That very, very
First
odd mistake.
I crashed,
You know,
never done that.
Never, and not the sort of thing you would do on the first corner of testing. You know, you're just.
And then during the recce, I said to everyone, "This is like the hardest recce I've ever done," and I don't know why. And everyone was like, "It's fine." And then it got to the day of quali, and I just woke up and I felt terrible. I said to
what sort of tell us about just like a terrible flu or a terrible malaise or a terrible.
I couldn't put my finger on what it was. I just felt generally horrendous. I told Neil Simpson, who's managing me now, and he said we need to take you straight to hospital. I was on a drip the night before the rally, hoping that would help things, but I woke up. I wanted to start the rally. Everyone was saying you can't start. I want to start the rally for my sponsors, and because if I didn't, it would be more pressure on me.
But as it turns out, you're not starting the rally because you've got a cold. you were not starting the rally potentially because you had this life-threatening illness. But
I had a piss before the first stage, like blood.
Oh, my God.
I retired after 2 stages. Just felt the worst you can imagine. Flew straight home to hospital.
Wow, that was absolutely the right thing to do. And again, you've got to give a lot of credit to your team, to TalkSport. There was a period, wasn't there, where, and I know what this is like, there's nothing worse than being ill and the doctor not knowing and not being able to tell you exactly what's wrong with you. That is the worst period because all sorts of nonsense goes through your mind. But the guys at TalkSport said, get on a plane, come to Turkey, we know someone will sort you out, and they did.
I was here for 3 weeks, no news, couldn't walk, so dizzy, weird feeling. And I got a call from Sir Colin team manager saying, we've got a flight to Istanbul tomorrow.
Direct from Manchester Airport.
First class.
Is that right? They're flying you business class these days. I don't even know. That's left, isn't it, when you get on the plane?
And within 3 hours, they had all the results. So.
Isn't that incredible? And now you are fully recovered, on the road to recovery. Are you still medicated? I mean, how does it work with that illness that you have?
It's something I'm always going to be careful of.
Right.
Like I can't go out drinking. I never drank anyway, luckily. But I've got to just take massive care of myself. But it's not.
You didn't even have a cup of tea with me this morning.
No.
You said water. That was it. A cup of tea in our Oregon Trail Rally mug. My favourite mug just now. Have you got mine, or have you got Rallying UK's? You've got Steve Rallying UK's. That's for my guest. So I mean, this must have helped you in that you were a supremely fit young man before all of this happened.
I lost about 8 kilos, 7 or 8 kilos.
Seriously?
I didn't do anything for 2 months. The last nothing was just recovering. The third month.
So where are you now? If you were 100% before the illness, where are you now?
I can be 100%, but I just need to look after myself and make sure.
So you are 100% again in terms of your physical abilities, your physical fitness. You're back at more or less 100%. You look great, I'd have to say. You look fantastic. Really does. So let's talk a little bit. We've talked quite a lot about the past. I think we filled in perhaps a few gaps. If there's any that I've missed out, you just let me know. Filled in a few gaps and maybe told a few things that people weren't quite aware of. But let's talk about the future, because it's all about the future, isn't it? You know, you since you've been, as we said earlier, 14, 15 years old, you know, the focus of everything that you and your father and your family have done has been to get you to the very top. Now you're tantalisingly close. You're not that far off the top, but there are still a couple of big steps to take. So what is the next move?
Well, I've only done 2 rallies really in an R5, so I need to maximise my learning in that car this year. But to be honest, I'm happy with the potential we've shown on the odd stage. Like, we set a fastest time in Rome,
which was great on your comeback. You know, I thought that was fantastic, and that was a huge achievement to set your first fastest time.
Yeah, with Lucky Nux, as we know, he's a lunatic.
You know,
fighting for the win.
He'll win stages in a World Rally car, but he'll never win rallies in a World Rally car, because he'll never get to the end. You know, but you'll set some astonishing times along the way. He's that sort of driver, isn't he? So,
and then the Azores, the debut was incredible. I just felt the car so quickly. So I need to keep that going. But the big thing that I won't say weakness, but I need to learn the WRC events now.
Yeah, that's really where I suppose if there's a gap in your experience and your knowledge. You've done Wales Rally GB, what, 3 or 4 times now?
5 times.
5 times, and you've won your class many times.
3 times, yeah.
What, as British rally fans, we would love to see is an R5 car on GB this year. Is there any chance of that, do you think? Is it in negotiations? Is there, you know?
We're doing it.
You're definitely doing it?
Yeah.
You're down on the entry list?
Well, we should be, yeah.
Oh, good boy.
And we're also...
Good boy, in the Skoda, in the Talk Sport Skoda. Fantastic.
And we also... There might be another surprise.
Well, you just let me know as soon as. That is great news, and that's the way to go. And you know what? It's a sensible thing to do, I think, because if there are surprises before then, I assume you might be talking about perhaps doing another round or 2.
Yeah.
Where Talk Sport from?
Turkey.
Let's wait and see. But Rally GB, you know, what you want to do clearly is show your potential, and Rally GB is such a great opportunity for that, because you know those stages.
Yeah.
You know you'll have local support. You're half an hour, 40 minutes from home. It's such a great opportunity.
Thinking about it now, it makes me feel funny, because that is the chance that I've been. That is the.
Oh, you've been talking about it for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah.
A long time, and I think you've been ready for it for 2 years now, maybe even 3 years. But the fact that you're going at it with all that extra experience now, it's going to give you that better opportunity to show what you can do. And showing what you can do might not be winning it, because remember, the WRC2 class this year is as competitive as it's ever been anywhere. You know, it really is. There's some real quality there. But to win a stage or 2 or 3 would be fantastic. To be up in the top 3, I think, would be a tremendous result. What would be your...
That would be definitely the plan.
Top 3? Yeah, I think that would be achievable as well. And then if you can do that, Wales Rally GB, I suppose the plan might be WRC2 next year.
Fingers crossed. That's where I need to be, because...
It is, isn't it?
I want... An ambition of mine has always been to become European Rally Champion. That's something...
What, is that done or not? Is that ticked under 27 juniors? Is that ticked or not?
I'd like to win it overall as well.
Right. Fair enough. Yeah.
That's just something personally I've always wanted to do, because if I don't make it to the WRC, no one will be able to take that away from me.
Yeah.
So, and you know, I've got the best chance of doing that as well.
So you think maybe you could combine the 2 next year? You could combine WRC2 and ERC. The calendars work well, don't they, in that regard?
It all comes down to budget, but that would be the ultimate world.
That would be your ultimate year as well, because things have to leap ahead with that amount of seat time potentially.
Yeah. I've never had as much seat time as my rivals, and to have, you know, to do 15 events. I think that
astonishing.
In the car every couple of weeks would be.
And you know, the nice thing is, Chris, when we started talking, when I first came across you and your dad cost us in Leek. First time I met him, it was great. You know, there weren't so many opportunities around in WRC, But there are opportunities now. You know, there are definite opportunities for junior drivers. You still need backing, you still need an enormous amount of luck. But it is now once again possible for a young man such as yourself with enormous talent and lots of other attributes to actually force their way through into the WRC. It isn't as closed a shop as it was, say, 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah. I think the guys there now, they've been picked up by the federation or they've been in with a manufacturer from, you know, really early. But then there's like Hayden Paddon. He's the benchmark. Inspiring, hasn't it?
And it is inspiring. That's the word. I mean, and I remember meeting Hayden for the first time 2007, I think it was, New Zealand Rally Championship. It was the year that Valentino Rossi did Rally New Zealand. Was that 2007? It's a long time ago. And Paddon became the youngest ever New Zealand Rally champion. I think he was 19. But I remember looking at the time thinking, oh, he needs to do a lot of work physically. He was overweight. But there was something about him. There was something you could see in his eyes. And when he talked, you thought, you know, this kid's got something. He's got a passion. He's got a desire. And he worked really, really hard on every aspect of completing that circle that we've talked about. So you're right. He has to be the inspiration, doesn't he? And that has to be, if there is a template for how to do it, I suppose that's the template.
Yeah, I'd say so. For me, coming from the route I've taken, where there's not support from the MSA or like the French have, you know, financially, it's
that's another kitchen table. A friend of mine has sent me a very good proposal, which I think maybe if we can get Ben Taylor to the kitchen table, yourself, Ben Taylor, and this friend of mine, I think we could just about fit 4 around. Talk about how perhaps the MSA could support, but we'll forget about that because that's not an option right now. The option is just hard work, isn't it?
100%, only option.
Yeah, good man. Well, Chris, it's been fantastic talking to you today. I very much enjoyed it. Thank you very much for your time.
Colin.
Chris Ingram. Certainly want to watch. Great news today. Rally GB is confirmed and perhaps some surprises as well. Chris, we'll catch up with you before the end of the year, hopefully.
Thanks so much. Cheers.